Hello and welcome to the Creatively Challenged podcast, where we talk entertainment news and random topics we bring to this Google Hangouts conversation. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Nolan, and I'm here with Mike Stuglis. How you doing, Mike?
Hi, Ryan. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay.
Yeah?
After I saw Dunkirk, which we're reviewing later in this episode, I have been on a Hans Zimmer bender, because he scores all Hans Zimmer movies, for those that don't know.
Hans Zimmer movies?
And I keep speeding listening to Batman Begins, and I ran this morning.
The Batman
to the score for.
Sorry, I interrupted you, but I only work out to the Batman music.
It's great,
dude. It makes you want to fucking lift 500 pounds. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I got Inception and Interstellar on vinyl.
Ooh, that's awesome.
Yeah, they sound beautiful.
How much are vinyls costing these days, though? I was thinking about getting some records.
I get them for about $25. Totally worth it, because it sounds so clear, and you could hear it around around the whole room. I'm probably gonna get Dunkirk on vinyl as well.
Yeah.
Dunkirk.
I was running to that this morning, the Dunkirk soundtrack, and god damn it. Oh,
it's
was
probably
awesome.
Stressful
Very
with the ticking clock.
That's what I needed.
I said I was going to take my quiz for my online class this morning with the Dunkirk soundtrack playing, but I don't think I could deal with that type of stress. And I got a 90% on the quiz, probably because I didn't listen to the Dunkirk soundtrack. I'm kind of glad.
What did you listen to?
Ocean Sounds.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. That's always nice.
That's calming.
Yeah. But that's Dan Stewart.
It is me.
We're long into the episode. I haven't even given your intro. Dan, what's up, dude? How you doing?
I'll be useful, sir. What a piece of shit George is, huh?
George is a character in Dunkirk, which we'll be reviewing later this episode, and he is indeed a piece of shit. We'll get into that later. But yeah, it's weird how we were just talking about it a second ago. Vinyls are the cool thing now for us millennials to have, and people were thinking in the 90s with CDs that vinyls were going to die, and now they're having record sales. It's just odd.
There's a lot of things
They're
making a comeback.
Record sales.
I see. Yeah. There's a lot of things making a comeback though. Not only vinyls, but also westerns are kind of becoming cool again, and kind of things that were old fashioned. I've even seen an influx of pipes these days of just tobacco pipes.
Yeah, I mean everything. Old is cool. I mean the way we dress, these
vests are coming back again.
Yeah, these glasses that I'm wearing right now look like 60s FBI guy.
Like
glasses.
what Hanks wears in Catch Me If You Can.
Exactly. So I mean that's definitely the trend right now. Retro shoes, retro clothes. And then pretty soon it's going to go out of style again.
I hope not.
Yeah, I hope not too, but everything does. Pretty soon we're going to have Jerry curls and fucking
afros.
Parachute pants.
Oh, that's no good.
They're going to be back.
I hope that fedoras don't make a comeback. I think those should just stay.
When were those ever in?
Yeah. Very dicey.
In the fucking 50s.
Also, I'm a fan of the flat cap. The Irish flat cap.
The Irish walking cap. Yeah, those are great.
Is that
hats.
the old man hat?
Yeah.
Yeah, my
Okay.
dad has a ton of them. Yeah, those are cool. I kind of hope 1800s top hats come back.
That'd be cool.
I'd grow a twisty mustache and go yeah, twist my mustache and take off my top hat like this.
To salute women?
Yeah, and then to get shot in the back of the head
Salute.
like Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Jesus.
We say dicey things on this show.
You want to wear a hat. Dan, I'm worried about
Is
you.
it
You're
really
saying you
too
want to
soon for an Abraham Lincoln joke?
No, not at all.
It's fucking funny.
So is JFK.
Yeah. It was what, 50 years ago?
Get over it.
Yeah, right?
All right.
Well, this is a movie-related show, and we have some news to go over. San Diego Comic-Con's been going on, and god damn it, there's a whole shit ton of news.
That's one big pile of shit,
let's
Ryan.
jump right-
That's what Jeff Goldblum said in Jurassic Park.
It is.
Yeah. But this news, let me tell you, this news is not a big pile of shit. This is a good big pile of, good news overall. That was weak.
It's like a stack of pancakes. That's what we'll go
Yeah.
with. All right, continue.
All right.
Oh, my mom
All right.
bought.
All right, no,
Fuck you,
no.
Dan. We're going to the news. All right. We have a trailer drop for a new Netflix feature film called Bright. It's directed by David Ayer, who directed Suicide Squad and Training Day.
He
It stars. Was that
He
wrong?
wrote Training Day. He
wrote Training
directed
Day.
End of Watch and Fury.
There we go. It stars Will Smith and Joel Edgerton, and it's a weird kind of twist. Will Smith is an LAPD officer in a world where it seems like a fantasy setting is collided, and so there's like elves and magic wands. Is Joel Edgerton? Is he an orc?
Yeah, he's an orc.
What is
he's
he?
an orc.
Okay. And so orcs are kind of like the lower class citizens in this world, and the two become partners in their patrol, and they stumble upon a magic wand, and things ensue there because that's like the most powerful thing anyone can come across in that world. And it looks really interesting because David Ayer obviously has proven himself very good with police movies, and so to combine that with something weird like this, probably be pretty good. What do you guys think?
Well, Suicide Squad had elements of entertainment, and I feel like if he's able to mix something he's really good at, and that's a police drama, Training Day was also a police drama, with something in terms of a fantasy, but also, he doesn't have Warner Brothers breathing down his neck. He said Netflix has given him complete creative control, and it kind of felt like that in this trailer. Kind of, it seems to be going in a lot of different directions, and it seems like a really interesting genre, like a true genre blend that you don't really see. You know what I'm saying? And the one of the big genre blends that is successful is namely the first Men in Black movie. And this kind of had elements of that and kind of reminded me of that. So, and ironically, Will Smith's also in that. And I thought the visuals looked really good, and it actually had a sense of grittiness. It almost looked like there's a mob element to it with like the elves and the orcs. And I hope it's also a socially conscious movie. So, it was definitely a unique trailer, and it has potential to be really good. And I thought it looked like a fun action fantasy movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel no emotional pull towards orcs after what they did in Lord of the Rings. I can't forgive them for that.
Yeah, they can't pull that shit.
Yeah. So, other than that, this looks awesome. I love the innovative ideas in the world of the fantasy realm. Like J.R.R. Tolkien, fucking, is like the father of all this fantasy stuff. And to see people stem off of his ideas is really cool. I mean, obviously all modern fantasy elements, including Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling obviously got some stuff from Lord of the Rings, and Will Smith said this is a mix of Lord of the Rings and something else. I don't know what else he said, but it's so cool seeing original ideas with magical and fantasy in a modern world after Lord of the Rings and after Harry Potter and stuff like that. So this is very interesting. You've got Will Smith and Joel Edgerton. This is I'm hoping it's good. I mean, David Ayer said he's got full freedom, which after Suicide Squad, obviously the person who edited the trailer edited the film. And that was the shittiest thing they could have ever done. And that turned out to be a bad movie. Because a lot of people said, including the stars of the film, Jared Leto, Will Smith, and Margot Robbie, all said that the movie they saw and were shown, which I assume is David Ayer's full version where he edited the film as well, was a way better film than the one that we got. So, obviously, he's done a lot more. He's done End of Watch, and he wrote Training Day. Guy's got a pretty good fucking resume, so I'm excited for this. I love a good fantasy, and I love Will Smith, so hoping this is good.
Yeah.
Orcs and elves and fucking Ents, and I don't know if there's gonna be Ents.
And this magic wand thing looks kind of hung.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Elder Wand.
and that's different. That's different, but yeah, and Netflix seems to keep trying different things. It seems like all of their content is completely independent. It doesn't seem like they're trying to do anything. It's like they made Beasts of No Nation a couple years ago, which is a movie about child soldiers in like Africa, and then they're gonna be making this movie and
then
like
they made Fuller House.
Fuller House, and they have some shitty, and they have like shitty Adam Sandler comedies, and they have The Irishman. They just seem to be going in a lot of different directions of film.
The thing is they can't lose, because like if they have shitty stuff on it, like
just don't watch it.
Yeah, people just won't watch it, and they're not really losing money over it. So we talk about Netflix every week on this show. Those guys are awesome, man. Like, gotta love Netflix. They've got some great shit on there.
Yeah. What I really admire about them is that they're very they keep to themselves about metrics. So they don't report how much they make off of like movies. They don't say how much they put into a movie, at least that I know of. They're not really into. They don't even say the amount of views they get for anything. And I kind of like that. And obviously they use it to influence their content. If they know something's not getting good views, they'll go in a different direction with things. But I almost respect that, because we live in a world now where so many things are dictated by how many likes or views it gets. But Netflix will give you original content. You get to decide for yourself if it's something you want.
I also like their new matching system. It's like they're not going to tell you if it's good or bad. They're just like, you might like this. Yeah. It's like 79% match or whatever that is now.
Because Amy Schumer wasn't funny.
Yeah.
That's the reason why they have this.
She blamed honestly, the alt-right.
They make better recommendations because of this.
Yeah.
Want to know what I've been watching on Netflix recently? Me and my little brother. No. I mean, yes, but no. Me and my younger brother have been watching Total Drama Island. Remember that show on Cartoon Network?
No.
It was a great show. And I've been watching it. And, it's bringing back some good memories of the old Cartoon Network, which had good shows on it.
Is Jimmy Neutron on there? I know that was
the
like...
Jimmy Neutron movie might be on there.
Anyway, they got it all. But...
Jimmy Timmy Power Hour.
Yeah. Moving on. There's been a slew of trailers this week, as Ryan always said, and we're just going to brush over a couple of them that we don't think need as much attention because we've either talked about them before or because we kind of want to get to some other stuff. So there was also some trailers at Comic-Con that we're going to briefly go over. Specifically, Thor Ragnarok had a new trailer, even though it's already had a couple, and Westworld had a teaser for its season 2. Ryan, what are your brief thoughts on these trailers?
Thor was great. Westworld was great. They were both awesome. I really look forward to Thor, and I really look forward to Westworld. That is
as brief as you can get. And I'm with you there.
The Thor trailer was awesome. I gotta say, I liked how you got more in depth with the Hulk and everything like that. So that was cool. It didn't reveal too much of the plot. Didn't watch the Westworld teaser because I never watched season 1, and I'm going to do that whenever Mike rewatches season 1, preparing for season 2. So until then, that's when I'll watch the Westworld teaser. But about Comic-Con, there's so much stuff about Comic-Con that we wish we could cover, but there's a lot of stuff that came out of there that we do have to talk about. Just based on time and stuff like that, we can't talk about everything. Like there was a leaked Avengers Infinity War trailer that we watched before Disney blocked, and we're not even going to go over it until that trailer actually drops. So that's for you to look forward to in a couple episodes or whatever the hell it drops. But for now, we will talk about one of the biggest trailers that did come out.
Hold on, one more. I got a quick thought. I got two quick ones. Thor, I love that he's putting together his almost like own Guardians of the Galaxy or Avenger team. They kind of made that. That was my favorite part of that trailer. And I loved with the Westworld trailer, Ryan, how it ended with blood all over Ed Harris's face, and he slowly puts on his cowboy hat, and then he does that creepy smile he does. Fucking awesome. That was my thoughts of the
said, I am Kristoff from The Truman Show.
He didn't say that, but you could tell it was Kristoff because it is the same actor.
Yeah. And what you said about the Thor trailer is something that we saw in the leaked Infinity War trailer. that it's going to make sense because there's some shit that goes down in that Infinity War trailer that we saw that's going to happen when everybody else sees the trailer, and we'll go over it.
But we'll get to it. Now to your thing. Now to your thing.
So one of the biggest things that came out of Comic-Con, one of the biggest trailers, one of the most hyped and anticipated trailers, was for Stranger Things Season 2. This trailer was awesome. It was set to Michael Jackson's Thriller, and only hints of Thriller came on during the whole thing, but really the whole thing was narrated by that creepy guy, who sounds like the Monster Mash guy during Thriller.
That is the Monster Mash guy.
It is the Monster Mash guy?
That's Vincent Price.
Okay.
It was awesome.
Vincent Price did a lot of great VO work in the 80s.
Yeah, so that guy's like narrating his creepy part in Thriller while all this crazy stuff's going on. So it was an awesome trailer. Like, Will's psychologically fucked up from going to the Upside Down.
He's got PTSD.
Yeah, because, but he's obviously still got some connection to there, and he's seeing shit, and the Demogorgon or whatever the hell's still in the Upside Down wants him back. And so this trailer kind of focused on that, and it kind of set up the fact that, Will's going to be around this time around, but, like, the Upside Down is coming to get revenge.
It's like Will is around, but he's not back. He's not. It doesn't look like he's Will Byers anymore. He looks like a completely different kid.
Yeah, he's definitely seen some shit. Like, he's not going to be the same kid. But
he was dead until Hop revived him.
Yeah. So it kind of looks like Stranger Things Episode 5, The Upside Down Strikes Back. So the
Stranger Things 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah. Two Stranger, Two Things. So this was an awesome trailer. I'm so excited. October 27th. Like we said during our last episode, it's coming out 4 days earlier than we expected. So, that 4 days makes a huge difference. Ryan, what were your thoughts on the Stranger Things trailer here?
Well, I have a correction. I was wrong about who said the Monster Mash. That was someone named Boris Pickett in 1962. However, that is Vincent Price that does the Thriller thing there. He's amazing.
Well, he sounds like the Monster Mash guy.
Yeah.
Do you think he was trying to sound like the Monster Mash guy when he was doing the Thriller thing, or did the Monster Mash come out after the Thriller?
While you guys were talking about this, I read the entire Wikipedia page. It came out in 62. And they picked this guy because they wanted him to sound like Boris Karloff's Frankenstein. So, 62 and 80, whatever, very different times. But Vincent Price did the Thriller thing, and he is featured in this trailer that I liked. Will Byers is going to have slugs coming out of all of his holes as we see him come in and out of the Upside Down world and the regular world. But my biggest question is how they're gonna fight this giant king crab. It looks like it's the size of Manhattan, and before they had the girl 11 to like mind blast it, and they both turned into oblivion. But how are they gonna shoot this thing down? Like they don't have the power for that. How are they gonna kill it?
It looks like they're gonna need. Yeah, it looks like they're gonna need like fighter jets and
nukes.
Did you see Hop with an M16 there at the end? That was awesome.
No, they just released at Comic-Con as well, like these like Stranger Things like figures, and there's one of 11, and she's holding a waffle, and there's one of Hopper, and you can take off his hat and stuff, so that's pretty fun. But I forgot what I was gonna say.
Well,
what I was gonna say was gonna be funny, and it was gonna be a joke, and I was excited about it. But now I'm just wasting everybody's time. So,
are we done with Stranger Things?
I had a quick one. So you guys hit everything of how it was an awesome trailer. My question is, it looks like what do you think is? I think most of the season 2, 11's going to be trying to get out of the Upside Down, and I think but I don't think it's going to be in like but I don't think it's going to be like the first episode she comes out of that. What I think it is, so you saw when Hop was looking at the map and there was X's and circles all over it. I think he's genuinely just looking for her, and I think it hinted at that. at the end of season 1 when he places the waffles and the chicken wings and the thing. And I think he's just going to different places around Hawkins, maybe thinking like this is or maybe they're portals. Maybe he's going in and looking for her, you know?
Oh.
Maybe that's a possibility too.
Maybe.
Maybe. A lot of speculation at this point. It was a great trailer that didn't show a lot.
Yeah, and it wasn't like like she reaches through the butthole at the end of the trailer. Like, people aren't gonna be like, "Hey, why'd you show her come out of the butthole?" Like, she's coming out.
Yeah.
Like, she's one of the main characters. Like, she's got to come back. Assholes. All right.
This October 27th, watch a young girl come out of a space butthole. It'll be great, guys.
Is it a space butthole?
I don't know. Dimensional.
Dimensional.
I call it a
interdimensional butthole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Moving on.
Our next story, again, comes to us from Comic-Con. It's been announced by Fox that a Doctor Doom movie is in development by creator Noah Hawley, who made Legion on FX and also Fargo on FX. Both are very good shows, and I'd recommend them to everyone. But there's a lot of things that come up to this. What?
I think it was just the lag in the mic we got.
Was it?
Yeah,
okay.
that's what it was. Did you ask what we think of this news, Ryan?
No, I was still getting into it.
Oh, okay, yeah, go ahead. It was the lag.
There's
lag.
Yeah.
Okay. This is the first time we've had lags. But anyway, there's a lot of questions that come up with the Doctor Doom movie because part of what makes Doctor Doom so compelling is that he has the Fantastic Four to rival him. And I don't know that they're going to be using the Fantastic Four that we saw in Fant Four Stick, the most recent Fantastic Four movie. I think Doctor Doom's one of the best Marvel villains, but who's going to pose him? What's the story they're telling? Who's to say? We'll see when we get a trailer, and we know that this creator is very good, so maybe it's in good hands. But what do you guys think?
I don't like this movement that's starting where they're just making movies about the villains because it's like, then who's his antagonist? So it remains to be seen. I kind of wish Marvel would just get their hands on Doctor Doom because he's such a good character. But with that said, Noah Hawley is, I think, the best writer on television, and he's also developing more shows for FX. Like, that's how much they love this guy, and he's won Emmys, he's done all this stuff, and I with what he's done with Legion, and that's make a really unique superhero telling, I think he can do the same with Doctor Strange, but almost at the same time,
Doctor Doom.
Doctor Doom. I'm sorry. With Doctor Doom, I lost my train of thought. But I think it's just, I think he can do some good, but I also question why they are just making these singular movies about, I know Venom is Sony, but I don't get why you have to make movies just about villains.
Well, Doctor Doom's almost going to be making the same mistake that they're doing with Venom. Like, I mean, you can make a great movie, but regardless, like, if you don't have like a movie that doesn't have like the heroes that villain's supposed to be fighting, like, why make it?
It feels one-sided.
It'd be like, like if they just made a Joker movie, which I'm sure would be fucking amazing, but if it didn't have Batman in it at all, like, it'd be stupid, almost. Like, like, it could even be Heath Ledger's Joker in a 2.5-hour movie about him. And as great as a character he is, like, it just still wouldn't be as good as it could be if it had Batman. And this is the problem. Like, somebody has to do the Fantastic Four right. I can't believe, like, I mean, the first cast of Fantastic Four wasn't bad. Like, I liked all the actors that did it. But, like, like, the movies were... The first one was decent, and then the second one was poop. And then they did Fan Four Stick, and, like, you got good young actors, and Michael B. Jordan's Human Torch, and all that, and then it sucked. So, like, why... Like, why can't they do the Fantastic Four right?
And Doctor Doom's been the villain in all of them?
Yeah.
It's like...
And he's such a great villain. He's like the key in a lot of huge Marvel team-up like storylines. Like he's like the guy, and then Marvel doesn't have the rights to him because Fox wants to hold on to the dying Fantastic Four series that they can't fucking do, and then they're making people hate the Fantastic Four. Human Torch is like my second favorite superhero of all time. So like I like it makes me sick that they can't get the Fantastic Four right, and like this Doctor Doom show, can do all the right it wants, but like if they don't make it without the Fantastic Four, then I don't see it lasting too long.
No,
because like who's he gonna go up against? And since it's Fox Marvel, like they don't have that many characters to where they can make it interesting.
Well, what do you think of a guy like Noah Hawley taking it on, though?
He's a great writer. I love Fargo. I've heard really good things about Legion. So overall, he's the right guy to get things writing. But still, I think with the problem of limited availability to characters and limited availability to what you can kind of do with Doctor Doom, since he has been casted in movies twice now, then, I think you run into issues. So you could be the greatest writer of all time and still encounter these issues. So I'm interested to see how it goes down, but, like, I think it's just going to be another Fant4-stick disaster.
Yeah, it could be. Ryan, any last thoughts?
I saw a story yesterday. There's this character named Franklin Richards who is Reed Richards' son. That's Mr. Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And it's rumored that Fox is also making a kid-based movie following Reed Richards' son, which I think is a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Because we don't even have we don't have an established Fantastic Four, so why would you make a new movie featuring his son?
You know what shocks
it's just
me?
a really bad idea.
How bad Fant4-stick was. You have Miles Teller as Mr. Fantastic, Jamie Bell as the Thing, Michael B. Jordan as the Human Torch, and Kate Mara as Sue, and Toby Kebbell, who played Koba in Dawn for the Planet of the Apes, as Doctor Doom, and the movie was total shit. Like one, I don't think you can get a better cast. And two, I don't know how you move on from that. Is this in the same universe? I don't know. I'm kind of just... I wish Marvel could just get their hands on everything at this point, because everyone else wants to fuck it up.
Dude, yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, like, after Infinity War, like, Cap, Iron Man, Hulk, like, they're all probably going to be, like, done. So...
There's room.
So Disney Marvel is going to be looking for more properties and more superheroes and stuff like that. Like Spider-Man, Captain Marvel, like Black Panther, like they're all gonna be like the guys going forward. Like they're gonna carry Marvel, but I think they're gonna need more heroes and more, lovable characters to kind of keep it going, especially after a huge hole is left after Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans are gone as Iron Man and Captain America. And, Hulk is Hulk. So, I mean, Mark Ruffalo's done a great job as Hulk. I've loved him in all of the Avengers movies and everything like that, even though Hulk has been recasted 3 times. So, if they can get the Fantastic Four right, which if Disney Marvel, if fucking Fox let them fucking go, Disney Marvel would do the perfect job with Fantastic Four.
Mm-hmm.
And now that, like, Wolverine is dead, like, I would love if Disney Marvel took on Wolverine. Though Wolverine's kind of violent for Disney, but still, they'd get it right. They'd get it right. They just do everything right. So, fucking Fox, man. The only thing they've got going for them is fucking Deadpool.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think we've beat this one dead.
Yeah, we have. Sorry, I ranted. Fucking Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom movie. All right, well, More news out of Comic-Con. Literally everything.
Yeah, they're the rest of
We
the
survive
rest of the
on
news.
Comic-Con news. There was a Justice League trailer, the second or maybe third, like Justice League trailer. And I thought it was a pretty good trailer. You know, after the Batman v Superman trailer fiasco, which showed the entire movie, you always have to watch with these DC films now to see if the trailer's going to ruin the whole movie, like Batman v Superman did. This isn't the case. This was a pretty good trailer. It didn't show too much plot. Though, overall, you know, like I said, good trailer. J.K. Simmons got some more speaking roles as Commissioner Jim Gordon. Got to see a little bit more. But we saw Themyscira, which is Paradise Island, where Wonder Woman's from. I had no idea that they were going to be in the movie. Now I'm upset I saw that. And then at the very end of the trailer, it's heavily implied that Alfred, played by Jeremy Irons, is talking to Superman, who is back to life. And I say I'm upset about it because I guess, like, it's whatever. Like, they didn't even show Superman in the trailer. That's why I thought it was lame. But, like, you know, everybody knows Superman's going to come back to life. Like, you can't keep Superman dead. So I didn't mind that, like, they did that. But I'm kind of upset they showed Themyscira. But overall, it's a good trailer. Nothing too plot revealing. Ryan, what did you think about this trailer?
This was a good lengthy trailer. I liked that it was longer. There was a lot of content focused in here. There was a shout out to the Green Lanterns, and it's exciting because they have announced that it is for sure we're getting a Green Lantern movie. Hopefully it's better than the last one with Ryan Reynolds.
I hope it's a Jonathan Stewart.
Yeah.
Green Lantern.
Well, no, it's going to be focused on the core. So there's Jon Stewart's definitely a possibility. There's a few other like key members that might be in this movie. No one knows yet, but I don't like Zack Snyder, and I don't have a lot of faith in this movie. I'm still going to pay to see it. Might like it. We'll see, but I don't like the director. I don't like what he did with Batman versus Superman, and I think it's a really bad mistake that they implied Superman there at the end, like Dan was saying. That's the one thing they just needed to hold back and let be a surprise for the audience. They should have just never mentioned it because the threat was a little more real, that like we weren't sure that Superman's coming, and that's why this threat in this movie is such a big deal. But to immediately say this in the first official trailer, the first full-length trailer, that Superman's here. Yeah, it's like, what the fuck?
And that's heavily implied, like, you know, that it is Superman. But, like, the thing, it's so obvious because the whole trailer they're talking about, like, oh, now that Superman's dead, like, you know, where did Batman go, huh? Why isn't he saving us? And we haven't seen Wonder Woman in 100 years or whatever, and all this stuff. And it's just like, well, he's got to come back now, right?
Yeah, we all know he's going to come back.
With all the news, with, like, saying they're doing a new script for Batman, and they've officially announced Wonder Woman 2, and the Flash script is being redone. Do you think they're just getting through these Justice League movies and then saying, all right, now we know, now the success with Wonder Woman, we know what direction we're going in? I feel like they're almost like just trying to crank out these movies just to get to the next phase, to where they probably more have the creators probably have more of a clear direction now of like, all right, Wonder Woman worked. Maybe we should make more of our movies in this fashion. And I think they kind of might have found themselves with all the, you hear about all the different movies are getting script rewrites and redone. I feel like that's because they now have a clearer direction of where they want to go with their characters. So, my thoughts on the trailer. One, the visuals look good because that is what Zack Snyder's good at, but it almost looks like just like a CGI fest. Really, that's what I got. It looked like an influx of CGI. Whether it looks good or not, it did, for the most part. Cyborg looks terrible. That suit, I don't know what they're doing with that, but they need to fix that. The one thing that I thought, you know, the action looked good, but we know the action's going to be good. That's what's been the best part of these DC movies. But the one thing that bothered me about the trailer is Batman and Wonder Woman are speaking about Superman in it. They also reveal Superman at the end, pretty much. But they're speaking about him, and Batman's like, I learned this from him, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you guys, I don't even know if you ever had a conversation with each other besides just arguing. So I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You learned shit from Superman. I mean, it just sounded really cheesy to me that they were playing off his death so heavily. But you know, it is what it is. I think they're just kind of trying to get through this phase, and they realized how good Wonder Woman is, and they maybe found their footing. So I think there's a silver lining, but I'm not entirely optimistic about this
Which
movie.
People have been saying since the start. Like, they're already going to have a Justice League movie before Batman has his own movie.
They have to develop Aquaman, Flash, and Cyborg in this movie.
Yeah. So I think it's like I'm rooting for the movie. Like it almost needs to be good. You know, I mean, the success of Wonder Woman could hold people at bay, but like, since the start, we know that they're just trying to catch up with Marvel. And after BVS and Suicide Squad, they fucking like people were like, wow, like. These movies cannot hold up because they're just trying to play catch-up. And we know that. Like, we almost got lucky with Wonder Woman with how good it was. Because I'm hoping it keeps people at bay. If Justice League isn't good, the DCEU is fucked. Like, really. Like, royally fucked. So, I mean...
I need to see all the standalones before I can make that assumption.
Exactly. And that's why Disney Marvel did it right. You know, they took their time. They were patient. And, you know, DC just kind of came late to the party and tried to play catch-up, and now they're fucking blacked out laying on the front lawn.
Yeah. Well, it's just another one of those things that we say this basically every episode on this podcast. It's just another thing. Time will tell.
Time will tell.
We don't know.
Yeah.
We can only say so much based off this trailer, but time will tell. I don't have faith in it, but my mind could be changed, so we'll see.
Another trailer out of the rest of the news is trailers, so we'll just stop saying it's a trailer. The adaptation of the book Ready Player One was picked up by Steven Spielberg, and the first trailer dropped. And for those of you who don't know what it is, Ready Player One is about when the creator of an MMO called the Oasis dies. He releases a video in which he challenges all Oasis users to find his Easter egg, which will give the finder his fortune. Wade Watts finds the first clue and starts a race for the egg. This movie stars Hannah John Kamen, T.J. Miller, Ben Mendelsohn, Ty Sheridan, Simon Pegg, and Mark Rylance. This trailer looked so good. I mean, not only were the visuals fantastic and they had a lot of Easter eggs to other movies and stuff. They had like other characters. They had the Iron Giant in there. They had the
the DeLorean.
The DeLorean from Back to the Future. It just looked like oh my god! It just looked so fun, and it looked like a smart movie too. It looked like it's going to go in a lot of different dimensions, and it looks like the possibilities are endless, which they say in the trailers. And, they didn't reveal too much of the trailer, so there's only so much you can say. But Steven Spielberg taking on a fantasy movie maybe this is the reason he hasn't done a Star Wars movie. And people have been asking for that forever. But maybe he's just been wanting to do something where he knows he can do his own take on it and his own vision. And Steven Spielberg's like one of the greatest of all time. Mm-hmm. So this movie's going to be at least visually stunning. And I have full faith that the story's going to be great, so I was blown away. This might be my favorite trailer out of Comic-Con, personally.
Do you know George Lucas wanted Spielberg to do Return of the Jedi?
Yeah.
And he said no?
Yeah.
Like, Spielberg said no because he said, like, George is already 2 movies in, and I don't want to, mess with his mojo or whatever.
AKA be better than him.
Basically.
Because they're good friends.
Yeah, so... This movie is like combining like all of Steven Spielberg's like works and putting it into like one movie. I mean, like the Iron Giant and
fucking Star Wars could show up.
Yeah, and like, well, I don't know. Because it's Warner Brothers.
Well, I'm not talking. I'm just saying, like, in terms of a fantasy realm.
Yeah, if it does.
Yeah.
I kind of want Speed Racer to show up in the race.
That'd be awesome.
Because Warner Brothers owns the rights to the Mach 5 and everything like that. Like, that'd be hung. But to see the DeLorean and to see... This was a book, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah, I kind of want to read it now.
I want to read it as well. Never have. So this looks awesome. Steven Spielberg is getting, like, full creative... And like, the kid says, like, I wish I grew up in the 80s. Steven Spielberg's heyday was the fucking 80s, dude. Like, that's when he fucking... That was, like, post-Jaws. That was, like, you know, like, E.T. and Back to the Future and all these other things. Like, that was, like, his time, man. Like, Spielberg owned the 80s. And so, like, to have... There's going to be so many 80s references and stuff like that in there and pieces from his work and whatever the hell
Did
they
you
can
see Freddy
throw
Krueger in there?
Yeah. Like, there are going to be so many Easter eggs and things. Like, people are going to have to go frame by frame in this movie to try and find, like, everything. Because I just feel like in the background, like, there's just going to be, like, a fucking, there's going to be everything, man. I don't know. You're going to have to look, man. It's going to be nuts. I love it. Like, this seems like a really awesome story. I'm going to have to check out the book. But other than that, this was a great trailer. I love it. Love Spielberg. Ryan, your thoughts?
It looked insane, and I mean that in a good way. It was very busy, like with the 80s references, like you said. I haven't read the book, but I read about like what people thought of it. The movie is apparently taking it in a different direction in terms of how the characters are and what the story does. But a lot of people recommend the book. They say it's the author's first book, and apparently that shows very well. But it's such a fun book and such an interesting story that kind of distracts you from his writing or his lack of writing skill. But again, I haven't read it, so who's to say? But God, yeah, it might be my favorite as well, Mike. It was really cool to just see something refreshing that wasn't just a DC or Marvel trailer. It was sweet. I look forward to the shit at Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, it just gets me more jittery that it's Spielberg. You know, if it was some guy, if it was just some rando, you might not get the same effect, but it's Steven Spielberg, and the visuals show that it's Steven Spielberg.
You know, he just did a Disney film. It was called the
BFG,
the
right?
Big Fucking Giant. And I heard that wasn't that good.
I heard it was okay. I heard, again, visually it was really good, but that was an adapted book.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Spielberg can put originality into this as well as adapt this into an incredible film, and the trailer shows only slight bits of what this could be. So I loved how many Easter eggs are already in the trailer. Imagine a 2-hour film.
Well, the thing is, though, if you look back on Spielberg, he's made blockbusters, he's made war movies, he's made kid movies, and his, some would argue he's never made a bad movie, but his kid movies are his least acclaimed. You know, he did the BFG, which is known as one of his lessers, and Hook is also known as one of his lessers. You know,
Hook was decent.
No, not that it's bad, but you know,
like,
one of his it's not his best work.
E.T. was his first crack at it, and that was like, E.T. scares the shit out of me still, but like it was a good movie. You know, Eminem in the book E.T. E.T. eats M&Ms off the ground. Like, Elliot gives him M&Ms or whatever. M&Ms didn't want to, like, put their rights into the movie because they thought it was going to bomb. And so Spielberg did Reese's Pieces. And now Reese's Pieces are, like, the greatest candy of all time. So,
that's funny.
Like, you know, that's what Steven Spielberg can do. He can show up M&Ms. So, you know, that's the type of directing power he has. So, Ready Player One. We're ready.
Yeah. March 2018.
Yes.
We'll be there.
That could be when Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out.
It could be.
But probably not.
What's the last piece of news?
Our last story comes to us from Comic-Con once again.
It's a trailer, guys.
It's a trailer.
It's a trailer.
Big
We're
Comic-Con
talking about
trailer.
it. It's a goddamn trailer, and it's for Netflix's The Defenders. This is a superhero team show that features Daredevil, Iron Fist, Jessica Jones, and Luke Cage. All pretty great shows, except for a few, reportedly. But it's a very solid trailer. This is for the first season that we're ever getting. It looks very promising, and I hope they make Iron Fist a good character because he's very lacking in the show. But Sigourney Weaver as the villain, it looked very interesting. She's like really intimidating. I like it.
I'll be brief because I want to talk about Dunkirk. I love that the creators of Daredevil are on this, and this trailer was a lot more fluent, I thought, than the first one. The first one tried to land a lot of jokes, I think, and some of them were funny, some of them were a bit cheesy, but I thought this one felt way more intense, and I loved that you have Sigourney Weaver's kind of puppeting Elektra, who is back. She was brought back, and she looks to be on a vengeance streak and just killing everyone the Defenders cares about. So I think this looks really intense and a lot more gritty than the first one. August 18th, I will be watching, and I can't wait to see John Bernthal pop up as the Punisher.
And that was another thing, too. It was a Comic-Con exclusive. There was a Punisher reveal trailer that shows that the Punisher will be a part of this, which is awesome. Fucking John Bernthal is amazing as the Punisher, but he wasn't in this trailer that we were talking about.
I think he'll be in the show like in like the last episode or something like that.
So this trailer was just, more the same from the first trailer. Kind of did show a grittier side of what the show could be. Sigourney Weaver looks awesome. Elektra looks hot. And, trailers for superhero team-up movies just look so awesome. Just seeing, their individual things. Like, I remember seeing the first trailer for the original Avengers. And after seeing, Iron Man 1 and 2 and Thor and Captain America and Hulk, it was so awesome seeing them come together for the first time, and that was more the same with this trailer. It just feels magical when you see guys from different shows or different movies come together, and that's kind of the modern superhero era, and this is a superhero show. So I just loved it seems like the conversations are going to be funny and serious at the same time. Just a very well written show, and I'm very excited for August 18th when this comes out, and this trailer just got me more excited for it.
Yeah. All right. Is that all we got on that? I'll launch us into the next topic.
The news is done.
Sure.
We cut the head off of that Hydra.
Wow, get up on the Hydra's back. We cut up heads and two more grew back, and then it was just a lot of news. But
we got two more heads left.
There are a couple more heads.
This story does not come to us from Comic-Con because we saw a movie this week. We saw Dunkirk, directed by Christopher Nolan. You may know him from Inception, the Dark Knight trilogy, and most recently, Interstellar. Allied soldiers from Belgium, the British Empire, and France are surrounded by the German army and evacuated during a fierce battle in World War II. This movie is about a real event. In the past, Christopher Nolan's movies were largely based in sci-fi or fiction, and now we get a telling of an actual event. Dunkirk, the Battle of Dunkirk, as it's known, is kind of almost like a fairy tale that they tell in British culture over there. It's like a big story for them. It's almost like it's a big source of national pride. It's not a fairy tale, obviously. It's based in reality. It's real. It happened, but it's a source of national pride because of the story that you could see in this movie. These soldiers, if they weren't rescued, the war might have been very different, and we might have even lost. And so, because just civilians went out of their way to save these people, a great amount of people were, saved, and we were able to, in turn, win the war. But it features Tom Hardy, Kenneth Branagh, Cillian Murphy, Branagh. Cillian Murphy or Killian Murphy. All right. And Mark Rylance and Harry Styles. I'm going to jump right into the positives. I think this was probably one of the best directed movies by Christopher Nolan. It's very interesting because it jumps around in time, meaning that everyone's at kind of a different pace, and in the end, it all comes together, meaning that one part of the story is taking a week, one part is a couple hours. It's very interesting to see. And this movie is not really character focused. It's more about just telling the events of Dunkirk. It starts and ends during this whole thing. It's not anything before, it's not anything after. And there's no dilly-dallying with like any soldier who's got an attitude saying how his parents raised him wrong. It's just they're guys just dealing with the situation that they're dealt. It was also filmed in really cool ways. Everything you see in the movie was on location. They filmed at the actual beach. They shot real aerial combat. Not that planes actually blew up, but like they filmed these things in the air. It's really interesting because Tom Hardy plays an English fighter pilot. And what they did was they converted Soviet-era planes that had a dual cockpit and then retrofitted them to look just like the
Spitfires.
The Spitfires, yes. And so they had one guy flying in the second cockpit, and then they were just filming Tom Hardy sitting in the other one. It's much like what they did in Baby Driver, where he was just sitting in the driver's seat, but it was actually remote controlled, and they filmed it from there. It was really awesome. And just because they took that extra mile to not just CGI everything, it really makes it a lot more intense. There's also fresh faces in this film. Fionn Whitehead as Tommy was really neat. They just had open casting calls for this movie, and this was just a random guy with a theater background, and they made him practically the star of the movie. What do you guys think?
I agree. I think this is Nolan's best. I think it is his best effort as a director. I don't think it's his best movie. That'd probably still hold up as Inception or The Dark Knight. Not that I still think this movie's fucking amazing. I thought it was a white knuckler from start to finish. This movie was so intense, and that is due to Nolan's direction, but also Zimmer's score. You know, they play on each other so much. Zimmer's score is somewhat of a it kind of makes up for the lack of dialogue. It's almost a character itself in this movie because it gives the movie a sense of a tone. It gives the movies a tone and a sense of place. You know, you never feel like these characters are safe. And like you said, the flying sequences may be some of the best aerial combat I've ever seen in a movie. I mean, the ones the shots of Hardy in his plane, and you're trying to see him with the target hit the planes flying and stuff. Fucking amazing. And also filming him while doing that. This guy acted with his eyes the entire movie, and he was fucking amazing. That is what Nolan says he likes most about Hardy, is he can act with his eyes, unlike a lot of other actors. You know, a lot of other actors will green screen it, and you get the tennis ball effect of you could tell they're kind of overdoing it. It comes so naturally with Hardy, and there's kind of a similar performance to Bane, where he doesn't necessarily need to be talking to get his point across. You know, he was very stressed out and paranoid, and you got that. Also, the ensemble cast is great. Everyone knew their role, and no one outshined anybody. Like, Cillian Murphy's character in the credits is Distressed Soldier. That is what his name is, or something like that. And, you know, he's a great actor, and he has a good amount of screen time, but they don't waste any time with him going, you know, a couple battles ago, I killed 5 guys. It's not like that. You understand the situation he's in, and the situations and the event of Dunkirk kind of itself makes you care for them instead of these made-up storylines they give you. And that's what I really liked, is Nolan was able to do characterization without dialogue. He was able to just show the event and show the weight on everybody. You didn't care if this kid was a dickhead or this guy was a nice guy. They didn't focus on that. You know, it just showed you how brutal and terrifying war can be. And I fucking can't credit Christopher Nolan enough, because, you know, this movie not only looks good, but he's able to do so much storytelling with so little dialogue, and that is a really, really hard thing to do. So, Dan, I'll bounce it to you now.
Christopher Nolan is my favorite director. He's directed some of my favorite films and some of the greatest films ever made. After his directing career, up to this point, like I said, has included some masterpieces. And The Dark Knight is still my second favorite movie of all time. Definitely one of the greatest movies ever made. Inception, incredible, you know. But Dunkirk, I think, is his best directed film. I think this movie, just in terms of cinematography, the music, the acting, just everything about it just seemed so well done.
Technical masterpiece. That's what I really call it.
When the moment the movie starts until it ends, your heart is beating. Like, you feel so intense and thrilled the entirety of this entire movie. And it's just so everything. I mean, I do have to say, just Tom Hardy again, just acting with his eyes, just like he did as Bane in The Dark Knight Rises. But what's his name? The kid? Hold on, I got IMDb up. Fionn Whitehead as just soldier guy. This is like his big time like debut, and he was awesome. He just really, him and all of the background cast, the fucking Kanja Club guy from Star Wars was in there. Like, just everybody played their role. Like, if you, like, you felt like you were in 1941, you know, like it felt trapped. Every once in a while, the aspect ratio would change on the camera, and it made, like, black bars would start growing on, like, the side of the screen and the top of the screen. Everything, like, even that just made you feel trapped. You felt trapped, and that's what those men were on that beach. They were trapped, and they needed a way to get home, and it was such a well-done film. Christopher Nolan doing such a wonderful and beautiful job at telling a real-life story. The acting, directing, Mark Rylance was awesome.
Mr. Dawson.
Yeah, and then the kid on his boat, George, who's a real piece of shit. He's my least favorite character in the movie. He's just the kid who plays him. His name is Barry Keoghan, and he is just annoying. I am not a fan of his, and something happens to him where I'm glad it happened to him almost. But I don't want to get into spoilers of this film. I just applaud this film. It's definitely one of the best films of the year, and Christopher Nolan, once again proving himself as one of the best directors ever by making another masterpiece in Dunkirk.
Yeah. I forgot to mention... another one of the great things about the production that was so realistic is that some of those ships and small yachts that were in the movie, some of those actually made the trip in the actual event of Dunkirk.
My God,
and they were able to get them and drive them there again. And it's really just a stunning movie.
Dude,
oh
that
my God.
fucking... Oh, my God, it's spoilers, but that scene when... I'll just say...
Don't steer into that.
No. But when they kind of, I'll say, when they're all together and like showing up, and the music just flips away from the clock, and it's just like you see the look on Kenneth Branagh's face. Like, I almost shed a tear myself. That was so awesome. I'll just kick it off. I don't have any negatives. If I were, it would get really nitpicky, and I seriously don't. If I were, it would everyone's saying like, oh, they don't really develop their characters. This movie's not about the characters, it's about the event, and I don't discredit the movie for that at all, because it does a different type of characterization, a very unique one. So I don't have any negatives, and I'll bounce that to you guys.
As Nolan says in the Dark Knight movies, it's not who you are on the inside, but what you do that defines you. And a lot of these characters, you don't know anything about them, but there's silent acts of heroism that they all commit, and everyone kind of works together to get the fuck out of there, you know? And these characters, yes, we don't know anything about their upbringing, their family at home, nothing about that, but we figure out more about them and piece together little things through the way that they act and interact with others. So it's not character focused, but it's Dunkirk. It's about the battle. You're absolutely right. My only negative was George, the piece of shit character Dan mentioned. He was just kind of aggravating, but I feel like that was what he was there for. He was meant to do something to another character in the movie, and if you go see it, you'll understand what I'm saying. But he has a purpose. He's just annoying, but that's absolutely what his character is there for. So that's, again, no problems basically, but that's a negative for me.
Mm-hmm.
One negative
Dan?
I have is George. He is not a looker. Every time he's on screen, I'm just like, wow. Jesus, kid. You should wear a scarf. And he just, every time he was on screen, it just bothered me. There's nothing wrong with him. I'm just an asshole. So doesn't take away from the movie. It's funny what happens to him. So let's get in the ratings, guys.
I'm giving my first official. I'd have to rewatch Logan because I don't remember. We weren't giving scores at that point. But this is my first official on this podcast. 5 out of 5 Goldblums of the year. I think this is technically the most seamless and best made movie of the year. Definitely gives Baby Driver competition for my favorite so far.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this a 5, and seeing this movie definitely has given me a new idea of like how a movie earns a 5, because I've definitely thrown them out there for the past 2 movies we've done. But I'm gonna give this movie a 5. This was amazing.
I'm gonna do a 4.8.
What? Why?
You know, I mean, like, love Nolan, you know, but like when I look at our movie scale, like I have to put every movie that I've seen on it. Like,
Oh, sure.
Logan's a 5, Dark Knight's a 5.
I could also see in
You
terms
know.
of like rewatchability sometimes as a review is
Yeah,
sometimes
and I don't know
a
if
factor.
Dunkirk has a lot of rewatchability.
Yeah, I'll watch it again for sure, but it's like, am I going to watch it as much as some of his others? Maybe not,
Probably
but
not,
yeah,
yeah.
that's I totally see
you know,
that.
I mean, like, Wonder Woman is a 4.5, and I have to. Dunkirk is a better movie than Wonder Woman, but I went and saw Wonder Woman 3 times in theaters. You've heard me say it. I'm not going to go see Dunkirk 3 times, you know, like. Overall, it's a better movie, but like, you know, there are just movies that are better. So it's a 4.8, but that's not like
it's not a slouch of a movie.
It doesn't make it bad that I didn't give it a 5. So we've got an average of about a 4.9 out of 5 Goldblums on this. We are really getting close to Jurassic Park on this one. Just an absolute masterpiece. Didn't need Goldblum to be amazing. But if Jeff Goldblum was in this movie, let's talk about this for a second. If Jeff Goldblum was in this movie, I would have given it a 5.
I don't know where he would have fit.
In Brana's role.
No, Brana was hung. I loved him in that role.
Yeah,
he was fucking awesome.
Imagine Jeff Goldblum. Or what if
he's not British?
What if Jeff Goldblum? He could do it.
No,
but he wouldn't. It's the thing.
How about the other guy that Brana talked to a lot?
Or
we'll
if
do
he
him.
was just the guy who goes, "Where's the bloody Air Force?"
Yeah. Okay.
That would have been great.
But
yeah, 4.9 out of 5 Goldblums, just as an average score. It's an incredible, amazing experience.
See it in IMAX.
Yeah. Oh, we saw it in IMAX, and yeah.
Pay the extra couple bucks.
Because the sound, the picture, it needed the IMAX.
The fucking gunshots.
They were so loud,
my
dude.
God.
It was just fucking right behind us. It was incredible.
That's my only problem. There's no IMAX out here, and I really wish there was so I could have seen it. Because, God, that would have been amazing. Because he shoots for IMAX, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he shoots on the
meant to be
composite
experienced like
film in IMAX, which is really unique and awesome.
He also shot in 70mm.
Yeah.
Which we went and saw Hateful Eight on, which was an awesome experience. Like, that was Quentin Tarantino's Roadshow, and that was awesome. We got, like, a little book for the Hateful Eight, and it was awesome seeing, like, it on old film and having, like, an intermission like we were, you know, in an old movie. It would have been cool to see this film in 70mm, but IMAX works just fine. And, I mean, you can watch it on your phone nowadays when it comes out on Blu-ray and digital download. So just watch it anywhere. It's a good fucking movie.
I think more movies need to come back and adopt the intermission, because so many times during a movie in the theaters, I'll have to piss and I can't leave.
Definitely longer movies too.
Yeah.
You know, I like it. It feels like an event too, and I also want film to come back. When the grain on film is so good, and you could tell when with the shots in this movie that were on film.
Yeah.
I think a lot of them, it felt like to me anyway, were some of them when Rylance was on the boat.
Definitely, because that would have been easiest.
Yeah.
And I liked, you know, like the cinematography where like they would be on a boat and like a waving flag would be like blocking half the screen, and it's just like, you know, I mean, you can set up the camera there, but you can't control the wind. So like I like how that was just part of it.
Yeah.
You know, like that was cool.
Or the residue from the sea.
Yeah.
That was it was beautiful.
God,
just beautiful.
When I went and saw right before Toy Story 3 came out, they did a double feature of Toy Story 1 and 2, and there was an intermission in between. And that was fun.
Oh, that's fun. That's a movie. That's like 2 movies, though, right?
But yeah. I've never left a movie, like in the middle of a movie, to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, I can't. I really
I don't want to.
can't.
You know, I'm paying money to go see the movie. I'm enthralled in the movie, and you know, only one of my movie-going experiences has been really painful from holding in a dump. But you know, that's my famous Planet of the Apes story, and I got so distracted by how good of a film Planet of the Apes was, it wasn't that painful. But at some moments, it was. But I will never leave a movie theater to go to the bathroom.
All right, so.
Our main topic this week is related to Dunkirk in the fact that our main topic revolves around World War II, and obviously Dunkirk takes place during World War II. A lot of times when it's talked about the generation that grew up or was fighting in World War II, that they're often referred to as the greatest generation, and I just wonder I wonder why that is. I want us to talk about why people say that, and if they really earned it, if it's true, are we a worse generation than them? You know, do we have it easier? Did they have it harder? What do you guys think?
So Ryan, this is what I'm getting at. You're saying, is it the greatest generation? I mean, you can definitely say that. I think in terms of personality, I think they're a lot more patriotic, and I think they are all around probably less self-centered people than today. But I will say this: that generation was also left with a great deal from World War II. We benefited more than anybody in that war economically, and we could have just said, all right, we benefited, and we could have become isolationists. But you know, America, in a sense, whether it's a good or bad thing, is somewhat of a modern empire. And I use the word modern heavily. And, you know, we did do a lot with it, and we've tried to be the world police, and everyone has different opinions. But, yeah, I think that's a really hard question to answer. But I will say they did do a lot with what they were given. They could have become content, but they expanded on stuff. And, you know, they had a great president like FDR who did a lot of great social changes, and he was the president they needed for the time. So, I mean, it's really hard to say if, you know, what generation's the best. We definitely have it easier in terms of access to knowledge and technology and medical. We definitely have it easier. I mean, they definitely had a harder life. We didn't have to go through World War II. You know, we are choosing to be in the Middle East right now because we want to be the fucking world police for God knows how long. But, you know, I definitely think their generation is better and has done more than ours, because right now all we're concerned about is fucking not offending people, and instead we'd rather worry about, you know, what you fucking identify as, instead of worrying about your fellow person. So I think their generation probably is better, and they did a lot, but, you know, there's still time to change. There's still time to change, but I think our lives are definitely easier because we have the fucking choice to choose if the word fuck offends us or not. And if it does, fuck you.
before we really launch into this, I just wanted to say I'm by no means a historian, and I know nothing about how the economy works. So I'm just raising the question. I'm just talking about the social aspect of who the greatest generation is. So I'm by no means an expert. And with that, Dan, what do you have to say?
Well, Ryan, I'll tell you that the greatest generation definitely isn't ours. And, I don't like people our age. It's anybody kind of from 18 to 24 right now, people who are just getting into running the world almost. I hate how entitled our generation is, or think they can be.
Yeah, we didn't fight in World War II.
No. People our age think, and this certainly isn't us three. It's certainly not a lot of the people I associate myself with. People think they're just entitled to everything. They think they're entitled to be treated with 100% respect all the time when they haven't earned it. They think they can just, be granted a ton of money without doing the hard work or anything like that. The World War II generation, which is kind of like our great-grandparents' generation, is definitely up there in terms of best generations. They set up the world we have today. World War II made America what it is. It made America the superpower that it is. I mean, we fought for our right, and at that point in time, America had almost been a country for almost 200 years. And, I mean, we were definitely up there, but, World War II put us on top. We bailed the world out in World War II. The Brits were getting fucked in Europe. We went out and helped them out in Europe.
France surrendered.
And then we got bombed in Pearl Harbor, and we had to go take care of the fucking Japs. So and everybody was so into it. The homeland, there were no hippies then. Everybody was into the war. There was nobody who was anti-war. Men, women, children, everybody was doing their part to make sure that we could protect the world and be America. Then I think Nam changed the way our country views war.
We have people who hate soldiers now.
Yeah.
Unfucking believable.
And that started with Nam.
Yeah.
Because people blamed soldiers for going over there and fighting like they had a choice. And, it was just faulty leadership, and it was Johnson to Nixon, and, it was just a tough time. And that kind of started just a chain reaction. And, our parents' generation happens. They grow up in the 80s. And everything's just good time. I mean, we're going to the end of the Cold War. And then we are born in the 90s. 9/11 happens. We go to Afghanistan, Iraq. I'm missing the part where everybody turned into fucking pussies.
Yeah.
I don't know why it happened, when it happened, but within the last 2 years, I don't like a majority of the people who live in America. I just think people are way too entitled nowadays. I don't like how people get so easily offended. I wish I could grow up in a different era. And I wish, because I feel so, I feel like, it should. Everybody should have their own opinion. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. But when it comes to you think that you're entitled to more than just your opinion, then it's a problem. So it's I don't get, I wish I grew up somewhere else or somewhen else because I think other people knew or people older than us know what life is supposed to be about. That I feel like our parents were raised by our grandparents, who were raised by their parents, who fought in World War II. And they know what patriotism, they know what hard work, they know what loving your neighbor is all about.
Do you want an example? So when I hold a door for people, I always hold doors. One, it's how I was brought up. I was kind of used to it because I have a handicapped grandfather, so I'm used to kind of doing that for older people and helping the fellow person. But when I hold a door at school, one, people generally always avoid eye contact and look down. Those are people our age. Yesterday, I held a door for a group of 10 people. Out of the 10, 2 said thank you.
How old were these people?
Mixed nuts. They were just a big family. But like I could tell you the older people were saying thank you. But the younger ones, the younger they got, 10 out of the 2 is kind of ridiculous, but like no one wants to do stuff like that anymore, you know?
To go with that, we before we saw Dunkirk the other day, we went out for dinner before, and I held the door open for an older woman as we were leaving the bar, and she was walking in. And she was, like, genuinely surprised, and she said, "Oh, what a gentleman. Thank you so much."
She was also asking you to go first and stuff like that. I would rather have those awkward occurrences than just, like, someone walking past you with their head down.
But it's that, though. It's when an older generation of people are surprised when we act nice. It's people our age who put a bad rap on all of us for acting entitled and acting so rude and acting so shitty to the generations that came before us. And it's horrible not getting a thank you when you hold the door open for somebody. And you're right, it's all kids our age. They think they're so entitled that they don't even say thank you when somebody's holding a door open for them.
Yeah.
It sucks, man. To conclude my thought, I'll conclude with the same thought I opened with. Our generation certainly isn't the best generation. Whichever one it is, it's definitely not ours.
Sure. It is really easy to just to say that we're doomed. Everybody's less polite. And I've mentioned it a lot of times on our show and in our conversations together. And it's not necessarily like this is the definitive sample. It's not even like a large sample. But when I'm a server at a sports bar, right? I see a lot of different people that come in to my tables each and every day. A lot of times I'll get very rude people who don't say thank you or anything like that. They don't look at you. They treat you like you're nothing. But I also get a lot of courteous people who say thank you. They're very appreciative that I'm there to take care of them. And it ranges to every different kind of age. I've had kids that have been great. I've had kids that have been shitty. I've had old people that have been the best, and I've had like conversations with them after I bring them their food. And I've had old people who are just sour pieces of shit. And I think that given any sample of people, you're going to find assholes and you're going to find nice people. And I think that in World War II, there were shitty people and there were good people, you know? Like, I think to say that, like, our generation's doomed might not be totally truthful. I just think that maybe the spotlight a lot of times is on the shitty people. And it is, yeah, you're right. A lot of people don't say thank you for holding the door. That's true. But I think to give up on our generation isn't true because there's guys like us who hold the door open for people. We say thank you. And there's got to be more. You know, we're not the only ones in our generation. So to kind of backpedal a bit, to say that the World War II era is the greatest generation is something that I'm not sure about. And I read this article before the show, and just reading an article doesn't make you a professor on this topic, but it was an interesting point that I want to bring up. And this was written by a World War II veteran in 2001. Am I coming through okay?
Yeah.
Okay. It's just getting blurry on the Google Docs there. I was just worried. But it was written by this World War II veteran named Howard Zinn. And he was saying that, like, a lot of the reason why we call them the greatest generation is because there's a sense of heroism about the people from World War II, because we got into a war that had a lot of moral reputation around it. It was a very justifiable war, and we haven't really had a justifiable war like that since. You know, Vietnam was questionable, everything, Desert Storm, things like that. People wonder why we're even doing these things. Like Mike said, we're the world police, or like we think we are, and we probably shouldn't be, right? And he goes on to say that it's miseducating new generations to believe that military heroism is the noblest form of heroism, and war shouldn't be anything exactly to be proud of. You know, just because we did help end fascism, there was a lot of lives lost, and many people died, and it's not, I don't think, should be a total source of pride. Obviously, it's a very good thing that we got in the war and we helped end it, but I don't know that that's a reason to say that it's the greatest generation.
But in turn, Ryan, there's no alternative to that. You have to stop fascism. You know, it's almost like I get what that guy's saying, but it's like, you know, you're not left with many other options. And I feel like, you know, I think it is a sense of heroism that you are willing to go to. Yeah, you're taking lives, but you're also defending your country. And you're fighting for people you don't know, you know? I mean, I don't think there's anything more patriotic than that. And I feel like, you know, you can not condone the actions of war, but, you know, what's the alternative?
Sure. I'm just playing devil's advocate here, you know?
Yeah,
but
more than just being patriotic and fighting this war and ending fascism. Once, after VJ Day, all the soldiers come back home, and they populate this country like nobody's populated it ever before. Like, baby boomers, suburbs were built. Like, there were so many things that happened, like, in the 50s that, you know, like, just made this country great. Economy was great. Like, everything just, so many good things happened. Like, it was just the World War II itself, and then the after effects about 10 years after, that makes, like, the ideal view of our country. That I think, you know, it's what Donald Trump wanted when he's saying "Make America Great Again," but that's not the generation we live in. That's not the world we live in anymore. It doesn't work like that. So, for the time, they certainly did things other than fight the war that made America great. And we've lost the sense of that, I think, as time has gone on. But it's not necessarily our fault. It's just times have changed. You know, if a little kid's an asshole, you know, it's not his fault. He was born, like, 7 years ago. It's not his fault that iPads are the new sense of, or phones are the new sense of entertainment, and he's locked up in Snapchat and all this other shit, and he's turned into a little asshole, you know? Mm-hmm. It's just, time has moved on. I won't say we're doomed, but, like, the thing is I don't know why shitty people get the spotlight because they're shitty. I don't know when it's going to go back to, you know, good people. But just so many things have changed since the 50s and 40s that that's probably never going to happen again. So it's just a matter of, you know, figuring out the right thing to do and just doing it.
Yeah. I just disagree with the whole notion that, like, a lot of our generation is crappy, and I don't know if that's the point you're, like, trying to.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I grew up in this generation. I wouldn't have any friends if I hated everybody. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, why do we see more over, like, the shittiest people of our generation than the good people? I see the good in people. I make friends with people. I'm a very friendly guy. I shake people's hands. I say hello. I ask how people are doing.
Yeah.
Like, it's just your matter of response to that.
Mm-hmm.
When somebody does good to you, you should do it back.
No, absolutely. But there's stupid people, and in this generation, it's easy for the stupid people that are bad. It's easier for them to be louder now with social media and things like that.
That's really all it is,
Yeah, they go noticed easier, right? Like, good deeds usually go unnoticed. Would you agree, Mike?
Yeah, absolutely. I just think that we talk about it all the time. It's like social media is a good thing and a bad thing. We definitely have it easier, right? That's not even you would agree with that, right, Ryan?
I absolutely agree. I wanted to talk about that, but I agree. We have it so easy. Oh my God.
Yeah. So, and I think this sense of everything coming easy has kind of caused some resentment with the older generations because they didn't have it like that, and it was just and in turn I just think it's a big batch of people being misunderstood. But I also hate the fucking PC movement. But I'll just, that has nothing to do with this.
We can't.
But I fucking hate those people.
We all have feelings.
All the fucking vegans and the stop the pilgrimage, and I fucking hate those guys.
We could sit here and talk for hours about this, and we've talked pretty long for now, and we love our listeners if you've listened this long, but we've said our piece. Let's wrap it up. You guys have any final thoughts on this World War II generation?
I do want to close on one final thought, in that there's other great generations that I think might be up to par with World War II. Think about the generation of the American Revolution. Those people stood behind a document and laid down lives in a much more distressing situation than World War II, I might argue.
Well, the founding fathers are
I mean, they're definitely like the best American generation.
Yeah.
They fucking stuck it to the
might
king.
Be greater.
They are America.
Stuck it to the king. They literally are America. There wouldn't be America without the first generation of America. I wish we could talk to those people, but we can't.
Yeah. Another great generation might be the civil rights activists of the 60s. They instead sought equality without war. That's another kind of noble aspect of things, and another more recent one that I could think of. But that's just to think about. There's a lot more options than World War II, but our generation currently, so far, has not been the greatest.
You know what topic we should do? So. And I was thinking of it now that we're kind of getting on it. The greatest American ever. We should do that topic. I think that'd be cool.
The greatest American?
Yeah, you literally pick your most influential and important American ever.
Okay, that could be good.
Yeah, that kind of just occurred to me. Maybe we'll throw that. No,
it's Patrick Swayze.
Yeah, don't. Okay,
he's dead.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean he's
serious
dead. So is George
when we ever do
Washington. So is Abe.
All right. So is that all we got?
Yeah, I'm done.
Hashtag stop the PC movement.
Yeah, let's get that trending.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we could sit here and talk about this for hours, but
this is one of our longer episodes, wasn't it? Yeah. Lot to talk about. Fun episode.
A lot of trailers, a lot of Comic-Con, a lot of Dunkirk, a lot of Hunkirk, a lot of generational discussion. So that was a good episode, huh?
Sure. All right,
Ryan says sure.
What? What'd you say?
I said Ryan says sure, like fuck you guys.
Oh yeah, basically.
All right.
And that is this week's podcast. Remember that each and every Monday morning we upload to YouTube, SoundCloud, and iTunes. We've got links to all those on our Facebook and Twitter page, which we'll also have links for in the description. Next week we'll be reviewing Atomic Blondes. I'm looking forward to that. And any final thoughts? No?
What?
You were
Any final
lagging
thoughts?
there.
There was
I'm
a
lagging?
lag,
Okay.
but I'll tell you what. We love the listeners. Keep listening. We love you guys. We'll see you next week.
All right. And as always, thank you for listening.
What if God was one of us? Just a slob like one of us.